Grow Great is a city government leadership podcast with Lisa Norris and me, Randy Cantrell. Each week we share insights, experiences, and wisdom to help you and your leadership grow great. Our website is growgreat.com. Last night, Rhonda and I picked up, have you seen this? I think it's a Netflix series, The Night Agent.
No, I
You
haven't
ever heard of this thing? The
No.
Night Agent. I won't go into the backstory, but this is like season 3, and it just dropped. So we watched the first 1 or 2 episodes last night of season 3, and he's reflecting back to when he was a little boy. And his mom is in the other room, and he's very small. And she's on the phone, clearly with a doctor, and she says, "Yes, I'm alone, and the news isn't good." And she said, "Is there nothing that we can do?" And she's kind of crying, and he peeks around the corner. He sees that she's on the phone, and she hangs up, and he wants to know why she's upset. And she deflects, and he's playing with Legos, and he's trying to find some missing Lego part. And so she's trying to distract him from, and it's clear from the picture of her, the visual of her, she's sick. He doesn't know, likely know. And as they're looking for the Lego, she says, "I need you to make me a promise." And he said, "Sure." She said, "Will you?" And he said, "Yes, I promise." And she said, "I need you to always do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. Will you promise?" And he says, "Yeah, I promise." So Lisa puts this phrase in our notes. We've got notes that we kind of use to get talking points. Be the reason why people believe in beautiful souls, kind hearts, and good energy. Never stop being a good person. And for me, when I first read it, my first blush kind of went to this thing of just always do the right thing. I mean, never stop being a good person. What does that look like? You know, does that look like, well, I'm always going to be polite. I'm always going to be nice. No, I mean, you know, sometimes doing the hard thing, doing the right thing is the really hard thing, but it's the needful thing. Mm-hmm. Lisa's heard me talk ad nauseum about the various people that have helped me in my career. And these weren't all pleasant encounters. These weren't all encounters that I left feeling better, but in the moment they might have been kind of sort of painful. You know, and I'm not saying called on the carpet, but times where I was corrected, times where people taught me something because I had made a mistake unknowingly. I talk about the Don Stoffel moment, that a manager in a hi-fi shop when I was 15 or 16 pulled me aside and corrected me about an encounter with a customer. Those are priceless moments. And I will say, now as an old guy, it's those people and their encounters with me that make me still believe in beautiful souls, kind hearts, and good energy, and just doing the right thing even when it gets hard.
Yeah, it for me, it comes down to, you know, it's something I try not to really think about. Like, I'm blessed that I have a positive outlook. Even when things get hard, you have to drive sometimes. You still have to try to get results. But you can be kind. And you've talked before, Randy, about kind versus nice. And they are different. You can still be kind and honest and mentor and coach for not only the good of the person, but with their best interest at heart. You don't have to be mean-spirited, and I don't get it. I'm one of those that I don't understand why people feel the need to be mean-spirited towards somebody, even in anger, right? Even in anger, you just, kindness counts, man, and it's kind of a lost. It just seems to be getting more and more lost that. Speak freely, speak what's on your mind. I don't know. It's just, I just think kindness matters, and people really desire it. They just desire to experience some kindness in the world nowadays. And I love trying to be kind when you can, but also, just share and help where you can. That doesn't mean I'm not a huge volunteer person from a work perspective, but I try to express kindness to people. And it kind of takes me back, because Dawn's talked to me a lot about this, and there's no intent to brag here. It's just something
Dawn's
where
her husband, for those of you
Yes.
that don't know.
And, I always called it his work wife. He has a lady when he worked at Broadridge, he was there. It's a financial printing kind of company. They did printing for global stuff, 24/7 operation. And I always called it his work wife. And she's just the sweetest thing. And she was going through challenges in life, and had a husband who's now in the pen. But at the time, we went to New York for a business trip for Don. I think it's the only one he ever went on for his company, and I'd never been to New York. And I remember she also went, and she brought her husband out, and he had gold teeth, and he had the baggy jeans and T-shirts and stuff like that. And I just walked up to him and introduced myself and said, "You guys going to come to dinner with us? We're going to go to whatever." And I remember, to me, that's just normal behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't even think anything of it. And I remember Dawn, after we were done, said, "Oh my gosh," she was like, "I can't believe Lisa is so nice and kind. I can't believe she invited us to dinner, because she's an executive." And I was like, "What does that have to do?" I'm looking at Don, and he's telling me, he goes, "Babe, you're just the nicest. You're just the nicest person to everybody." And I said, "Well, is there any other way to be?" I don't know. But to me, it's just not hard. But Randy, a lot of times we just don't see that, and kindness counts, man. It just takes a second to show optimism, to show kindness, to have what I call positive energy in a room. Who wants to be around negative energy and people bringing the air out of the room and bringing it down? Now, there are moments for that where we're in the middle of work day. For everybody that's listening, they're like, "Oh, here it goes again." She's going to talk about workday. But, we're in a really hard time right now with our end-to-end testing. It is stressful. It is straining. It is long hours, because we're doing workday and our current job. People are putting in 60, 70, 80 hours a week, probably minimally. And it's been going on a while. And it's interesting, because you see the dynamics. You see really positive energy, and you see people that are getting drained, right? And you see a different energy. And it's trying to balance that as best you can, but get the results you need. And the challenge is always, you can still deliver it with kindness, but the results, we have to get them done. So the tone can become different. So it's just an interesting, I just think, when you talk about believe in beautiful souls, kind hearts, sometimes it's easy to get lost when you experience mean spirits. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, I've legitimately experienced people that are just mean-hearted. Mm-hmm. They look to destroy people to build themselves up. They look to cut people down in order to make themselves feel better. And I don't get it. I don't understand it, because I can see it in a second. And honestly, I feel bad for them, because what kind of misery in life are you living in that's comfortable for you every day?
But there's the answer.
It's a sad state.
But there's the answer to your question of I don't know why people do it. I can tell you exactly why people do it, because they're self-centered, because it's all about them.
Yeah.
I mean, so take this workday project. So you got a big group of people that are impacted by this negatively when it comes to their current work-life balance. Current work-life balance is out the window.
Yeah.
Because
we're tired, we're exhausted, but we got a goal in mind to hit.
We're in this season, in this moment where it's mush, mush, mush. We got to take the hill. We just got to take the hill. We need this thing to come in on time. We need it to come in on budget. And we don't need to be running duplicate systems, simultaneously for any longer than we absolutely have to, kind of a thing. And you can still be kind, but the kindness, I think, is driven because of the thoughtfulness of all the people that are putting in that work, as opposed to the leader who fixates on themselves. And since this is a leadership podcast, let's turn that corner with all of this, being a good person. We're not talking about just being a good person in general.
Right.
We're talking about being a good person as a leader. We're talking about being kind as a leader. We're talking about having good energy as a leader. And does that always look kumbaya? It does not. No. It can sometimes look like teeth for your own good. I mean, we keep kind of hearkening back to parenthood. And I'm in a hockey rink the other day, and there is about a 4 or 5-year-old. He's got skates on. Mom's ready to go. They've been there for a good while. She takes the skate. This kid loses his mind. He is doing everything. He is berating her. He is hitting her. He is screaming at the top of his lungs. He is yelling no. He is behaving
a tantrum.
He is beyond a tantrum, and this goes on for 40 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
She does nothing. And I'm sitting here thinking, and there are people, be kind. Here's the challenge. Is she doing for this little boy what he needs? And the whole rink is judging him. He's 4 or 5. I'm judging her.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely judging her. It's not fair to this little boy. She needs to do for him.
She needs to course correct the behavior so that it's not acceptable.
He has no ability to do this. He can't regulate his own emotions. He's too small. He's too young.
Right.
So she needs to teach him. How she does that, I'll leave that up to y'all to decide. I know exactly what I would have done because I've done it. And it was done to me too.
Right.
Because I understood that. I understood that that's a course correction. I would argue that's kindness. That's my point. Right. So for people, so we don't get too confused here to think that you can't challenge your people. You can't hold your people accountable. You can't be tough when you need to be tough. I will argue that when all of that is done out of motive to help this person be better, perform better, that's leadership and that's kindness.
Yeah. And for those that think there's a difference, how would you explain the difference, Randy? Because you've talked about that before, between nice and kind. How do you differentiate those two?
In one word, helpful. Kindness is helpful. Nice is not helpful. Mom was being nice to the little boy. She wasn't punishing him. There was absolutely no consequence for his bad behavior. You could argue, well, she's being nice to him. Nice ain't working. Nice is not helpful. Kindness, on the other hand, had she corrected him, had she not put up with it, had she told him, it's not acceptable. You're never going to hit me. You're never going to scream and yell no at my face. When I tell you this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to be.
Right.
She could have been stern with him and that, okay, is that nice? No, but it's helpful. Mm-hmm. It's not mean-spirited. She's doing it not for herself. She's doing it because he needs it. I can tell you why she didn't do anything, because she didn't. I've heard it from too many parents. Too many parents want to raise up their best friend. You're their parent. You're not their best friend. They've got best friends. They need a parent. This little boy in this moment needed mom to be mom. He needed her to be the authority figure so he could understand how to become a good person. This little boy, if she doesn't change course, this little boy will not grow up to be a good person. So some guy we were sitting in the stands, and I was watching my son play. And this guy looks at me and he just shook his head. And I said, put 10 years on it. Put 10 more years on this, and we're all going to be dealing with this.
Yep.
And we are. And we are. So I would say the difference between kind and nice is helpful. Kind is helpful. Nice is not. Nice is a
interesting.
platitude. Nice is, well, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. I really don't care how you're doing.
Yeah.
It's just a formality. It's a pleasantry. It's small talk.
To me, it's a moment. Nice is in a moment. Kindness is being kind is a behavior. It's longer lasting. It's a trait that I think nice is in a moment. I'm being nice to someone in the moment. I don't know. I just see them as completely two different. Like in my mind, it's very clear.
Nice is real.
just moment.
Nice is real polite. I don't think kindness has to be polite.
No, kindness is a behavior and it's longer lasting. It's for impact, in my opinion.
Well,
Kindness
if
creates
everybody
impact.
would think back, and it doesn't take any of us, and even people that are just fresh out of college, and if you've just started your career, you think back to parents or grandparents or a professor, somebody who believed in you, somebody that they were not in it for themselves. They were in it for you. Mm-hmm. There's kindness. I don't know what it looked like. There's all different kinds of people.
Sure.
I've had all kinds of mentors in my life. I've had some who in their kindness had a large degree of niceness.
Sure.
And I've had others that were crusty,
Yeah.
way crustier, but it didn't matter. They were who they were. And at the end of the day, what I knew is they're investing in me. They care about my success. They want for me my best. And I think there's the rub.
Yeah, I
as a
think
leader.
kindness is truly an impact on it's truly a focus on others. We talk about our leadership recipe, but kindness is truly a focus on others. It's a behavior that you elicit and it's continual. To me, kindness, it can be in moments where nice is in moments, but kindness is in being kind. To me, you see it consistently where nice can be, you can be nice and you can be mean. But I don't really see people, unless you do, moving from being kind and unkind continually. Typically, kind people are kind most of the time. And like you said, it can come across in a different method, in a different tone, but they have somebody else's best interest at heart. And that's what makes the difference in my mind at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges with all this kind of language is it conjures up different kinds of thoughts in different kinds of people, because there are people, a correction. So when I was corrected, anytime that I got corrected at home or at work, or even now as a husband, if I get corrected, I could think, well, that wasn't very nice. They weren't very kind about it, because I was the recipient of the correction. But I just don't see it that way. I see it as more an act of it's service for me to help me see something that maybe in the moment I couldn't see. My real crude example is a man walks into a room and his fly's unzipped. Are you going to say anything? Most people won't. And the reason they won't is they don't want to be embarrassed to go say something. They're not thinking about his embarrassment. They're thinking about their own embarrassment.
Right.
I don't
It's
think
self-focused.
I don't think that's kind. I think the kind thing to do is to discreetly tell this person so they can avoid further embarrassment.
Right.
I think that's kindness. Now, the recipient of that, in that case, I don't think would think it's unkind. But there are people.
They would be grateful, probably.
Yeah, there are people that any kind of correction, if anybody tries to correct me about anything, if anybody tries to challenge me, come on, I coach for a living. You know this as well as anybody. As a recipient of my coaching, is it always fun and frivolity? Is it always nice? It's not.
No.
It sometimes is.
But you're always kind because
Well,
you have my best interest at heart, and it's for impact and making me better because of it. But you delivered it with kindness. You never yelled. You never.
No.
If you want to be
No,
nice,
but sometimes it's
that's
very challenging, and sometimes it's even daunting.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to the word helpful. Is it in this person's best interest? I stood up in front of a group, just the beginning of this week, there in Grand Prairie, and said, every failure I've ever had as a leader stemmed from my own pride, my own self. When I was thinking more about myself and I wasn't thinking about the team, I wasn't thinking about other people, every single moment of failure I've ever had as a leader, that was the genesis of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know anybody who's different. I think that's true for all of us. Mm-hmm. And I think this little phrase that we've kind of been talking about here speaks to that. It speaks, okay, well, who, as a leader, who are we in this for? Yes, you're in it for your career. I get that. Mm-hmm. We all want to advance in our career. We want to get better. But the true power, I think, of building a great career, especially as a leader, is the ability to positively impact other people, because newsflash, not just everybody can do that.
Yeah.
It's a special skill. And at the end of the day,
it comes down to, when you talk about legacy, and we've talked about that a lot on the show over the years, there's a clear difference if you think about the legacy you want to leave in your leadership. And I'm not talking about specific things like I built this building, I did this Workday project, right? But when you talk about a legacy as a human, would you want to be known as nice, or would you want to be known as kind? And there's a clear delineation there. I think anybody listening, you want to be considered kind, with good energy, a good human that impacted people positively, and you focused on others and not yourself. And that's what it's all about in my head.
Thanks for watching and listening to Grow Great, the City Government Leadership Podcast. Our website is growgreat.com. For Lisa Norris, I'm Randy Cantrell. We hope you'll subscribe to the show, and we hope you'll tell a friend.